Last Saturday, the Archdiocese had a pastoral conference. Every parish in the diocese was to host online and have a group of people there to discuss what took place at that conference. So some of you were there here, and some of you were there with us in Elkhorn where it was taking place. I bring it up because our parish was highlighted there. And we got a lot of really positive feedback from what we said and did there. I had a clergy conference on Monday and Tuesday, so I was hearing from a lot of my fellow pastors about what we presented at the conference. Really what they were looking at of what's happening here at Cabrini was our success with inviting people to Alpha, and then the success in inviting people to be part of a Cabrini community. So that's kind of what they were focusing on and what they wanted other parishes to be able to do as well. Not that they necessarily had to do Alpha or that they had to follow us in Cabrini communities, but that they too could invite and to trust that the message of Jesus is just as valid today as it was 2,000 years ago, and not to give up hope. The Archbishop and others had presented the challenge of being Christian in a post-Christian world, at least in the United States and in Europe. And what we need to do, each of us needs to do, to make that happen. So I just want to thank you today for your courage and your willingness and your faith in being people who invite others. We've had hundreds and hundreds of people go through Alpha. Now, part of that is we need to invite in our neighbors and others, and they're not necessarily sitting in the pews here with us today, but they've come and encountered Jesus in a deeper way through you, through your willingness to invite them. We are at Cabrini responsible for a particular territory. You may know that, because we've gathered a couple other parishes, Holy Family, St. Pat's. Our territory that we are responsible for is every human being between Grace Street, which is north, so only a few blocks south of Sacred Heart Church is our north boundary. Our south boundary is the interstate, and our east boundary is the river, and then the west boundary kind of comes in and out in a number of different places. Downtown, it's 16th Street, but then it goes over to 24th, and then at certain parts it goes over to 480. So according to church law, you and I are to take care of all those people and to help all those people who live in that area to encounter Jesus. How many do you want to take on for tomorrow? There's probably thousands of people who live in that area who don't know Jesus, who aren't able to see or encounter Jesus and the good news that he brings. So it's our challenge yet, even though they're highlighting us, and I think, oh, don't highlight us. We have a lot of work to do. But you give other parishes hope that you can do the same, that they can do the same. So thank you, because I'm not the one doing it. It's your invitation that brings in other people. This weekend, we had planned on doing the annual report, which we do yearly. However, the printer we normally use to put out our annual report is very ill. So we had to find a different printer. So you would normally have this in the mail, or we'd have these here. There is right now only one copy in existence other than being online. So all I can say is, when you get it, read it, celebrate it. Because it is, as I say year after year when we give out the annual report, it's my way of sharing with you how we used your gifts to further the gospel here at St. Francis Cabrini, and to, again, say thank you. This is a celebration of a year's work of faith and how we have shared that together. It's mostly stories, the stories of your experience of being a member of the gospel, of doing the work of the gospel, and living this community here. So simply thank you. That's all I really need to say. It really is your experience of living out today's gospel, which is the story, the famous story of Jesus healing 10 people who had leprosy, and only one came back. One of the priests at the priest council meeting on Monday, when we were reflecting on those readings, said, "Hey, you know, Archbishop, it just helps us understand that our experience," because one of the things the Archbishop talked about is only about 25% of Catholics regularly come to Mass. So Jesus only got 10%. So we're doing pretty good. Jesus only got 10% return. So we get 25%. So people are responding pretty good. Somehow the other 9 got lost somewhere. I'm sure it was probably because that's a terrible disease, and they were separated from family, separated from friends. They, depending on how long they had had leprosy, because they can't live with their family, they can't live with others, they had to kind of live in little leprosy groups. And then suddenly they're healed. They probably wanted to go home. They probably hadn't seen their family for years. So rather than first going to say thank you, they ran home. And I suppose that's probably what happens to a lot of people who say they're Christians, but don't come regularly on Sunday. They're just busy. They got other things going on. They forget to say thank you. Yeah. So it's good to remind them, because a lot of people still believe. They simply get lost in a very busy world. And so that's what you've been doing in inviting others and say, come and be with us at Alpha. Come and pray with us at Cabrini. Because you know what? If you stop and say thank you to God, you actually get more. Funny thing. And life is not so worrisome. Life becomes full of all kinds of good things. Because saying thank you to God really helps you to see that we've been given so much to pause once in a while and just say thank you, because look at all the things that God has done for us. And if we do that, then we remember that it's all in God's hands anyway, not ours. God has given us so much. Jesus, in his encounter with that one who came back, tells him that besides being just healed, that he's found salvation, found so much more than he had before, because he said thank you, because he recognized the one who healed him. He gets more. And so you who have gathered this day to celebrate Eucharist, which means thanks. That's what the word means. We gather always to say thank you. So you who have gathered to say thanks, get even more. You get Jesus himself in the Eucharist and the ongoing gift of that relationship into salvation and into forever. And that's what you and I get. And we need to continue to invite others to share in it. So thank you. Thank you for doing that with me and in this tremendous community. May we continue to be for others a bit of hope, and to help others realize, hey, I can do that too. It's not that scary. We'll invite others. They too will come to know the Lord.